As everybody knows at this point, Daniel Jones is going to be out for the remainder of the season with a torn ACL. I feel extremely bad for Daniel Jones. Battled back from a neck injury, able to come back, and in the first quarter he tears his ACL on a non-contact play. I feel absolutely horrible for him, and I am devastated. I'm sure he is devastated. But it's time for the Giants to move forward. The Giants have to move forward at the quarterback position. And to be honest with you, it's not even because of the play of Daniel Jones. You cannot solely rely on a quarterback that has missed 8 games in the last 3 seasons due to a neck injury. That is organizational malpractice to only rely on a quarterback that has missed 8 games in the last 3 seasons for a neck injury. And then on top of that is going to be rehabbing an ACL, and he's not going to be ready till the middle of the season next year, and you are going to have a top 5 pick. There is no way in hell the New York Giants can continue to roll with Daniel. He'll be on this roster, but he will be cut after the 2024 season, and the Giants will have a dead cap hit of $22 million. So coming up on today's show, we've got 2 types of Daniel Jones replacements. I'm going to go through 9 quarterbacks that the Giants could sign right now that will help them win more games than they have with Tommy DeVito. And at the tail end of the show, we're going to break down 5 quarterbacks in the NFL draft that I think the Giants should look at. But first, can we light up the comment section? I know everybody feels a certain way about Daniel Jones. Everyone has an opinion, and everyone should have an opinion. Because when you're the franchise quarterback of the greatest organization in sports, you should be able to have an opinion. But at the end of the day, he is our quarterback. He is our franchise guy, and he won us a playoff game for the first time since 2011. So no matter how much you hate him, no matter how much you think he sucks, I need you to show him some love in the comment section right now. Type those 8s. I want to see thousands and thousands of 8s in the comment section. So right now, you have 2 healthy quarterbacks on the roster, Tommy DeVito and Matt Barkley. Tommy DeVito is on the active roster. Matt Barkley is on the practice squad. You also have Tyrod Taylor, who is on injured reserve. He is going to miss at minimum 4 games. He already missed last week, so he's going to be at minimum out for the next 3 games. And when Brian Daboll was asked this morning, Monday morning, on if Tyrod Taylor could come back this year, he did not sound confident. So I don't think Tyrod Taylor's coming back this year, which means the Giants may have to rely on Tommy DeVito. I think personally, Tommy DeVito starts the next 2 games. Giants see what he could do, Maybe Matt Barkley gets brought up to speed, and then he's brought in. But I do think the Giants should go out and sign another quarterback to their practice squad or to their active roster. If you're going to steal a quarterback from another team's practice squad, you have to sign him to their active roster. I think the Giants should do that, a young quarterback. So let's talk about 4 guys that I think the Giants could look at on other teams' practice squads. Number 1, what about the former Texas Longhorn, Shane Buchele? He came into the NFL in 2021, and he spent 2 seasons, with Kansas City. So he overlapped with Mike Kafka, the current offensive coordinator for the New York Giants. I'm not saying Shane Buchele is going to win you games, but maybe you could find a cheap, young, backup quarterback that you can roll with in the future if Tommy DeVito proves that he is not that guy going forward. And I think that the fact that he's with Buffalo right now in the practice squad, I'm sure Joe Shade is going to get all the information from Brandon Beane, his buddy, in Buffalo. And also Mike Kafka spent 2 years with Shane Buchele in Kansas City, and he was a quarterback coach, so he worked with him very closely. Another practice squad replacement you could look at, what about Malik Cunningham out of Louisville, who was an undrafted free agent in 2023. He is currently on the practice squad for the New England Patriots, and while he is not the most refined passer, while he is not a guy that's going to sit in the pocket and absolutely dice you up, he is electrifying. And if the QB whisperers, Brian Daboll, like everyone tells me he is, he should be able to at least work with Malik Cunningham and help him get better. And I would rather watch a fun Malik Cunningham than what I had to watch yesterday against the Las Vegas Raiders. Another practice squad quarterback, probably the guy that's got the most experience. What about former Texas A&M Aggie Kellen Mond, who was a 3rd-round pick in 2021. He is currently on the Indianapolis Colts practice squad. Former 3rd-round pick. There's talent there. He has started a whole lot of games in college football. A lot of time he played quarterback for the Aggies in College Station. Kellen Mond is a guy that I would absolutely see if the Giants are interested in. He's a guy that has probably the most talent of anybody that's available. Former third-round pick. Hasn't put it all together in the NFL just yet. Last practice squad replacement I think the Giants could look at. What about Max Duggan? 7th-round pick at a TCU in the 2023 NFL Draft. You know what's funny? A lot of people said Max Duggan's NFL pro comp was Daniel Jones. He's extremely tough. He's extremely gutsy. He's a guy that's going to put it all on the line. While I don't think he's a guy that's ready to play in the NFL, I also don't think Tommy DeVito is ready to play in the NFL. I think Duggan is a guy that could step in and run a run-heavy offense for the Giants, and I think it's just worth it for them to look potentially at another young quarterback to put on this practice squad. Look, I don't know if the Giants are going to sign another practice squad quarterback or a guy to their active roster, but they absolutely have to, right? You can't just roll the remainder of the season with Tommy DeVito and Matt Barkley. So if you're not going to go try to poach someone off the practice squad of another team, that means you're going to look at free agent quarterbacks. And I'll tell you this much. All these guys were good 5 years ago. The top free agent quarterback, in my opinion, is Carson Wentz. Now, I know there may be some people saying, Marshall, these guys stink. Well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. It's November, and they're free agents. None of them are going to be good. Carson Wentz, though, one time was in the MVP race in the National Football League, just 30 years old. Could the Giants maybe make him an offer if they are serious about winning football games to bring him in? If the Giants are trying to win football games the remainder of the season, Carson Wentz is the best option. Thing is, I'm not so sure they're trying to do that anymore. Maybe you look to a veteran that's not even in the NFL technically anymore. He's calling games for CBS. What about Matt Ryan? Could Matty Ice, former league MVP, former Super Bowl losing quarterback, Matt Ryan, be a guy that the Giants look at? I don't know. What about bringing a former Giant? Once a Giant, always a Giant. And Colt McCoy is a Giant legend for what he did in Seattle when he beat the Seattle Seahawks in the Joe Judge era. Could they go back to an old, wily veteran in Colt McCoy to try to hold down the ship for the remaining 8 games in the NFL season? What about Joe Flacco? Joe Flacco has had a lot of success in this league. Do the Giants want to look to a 38-year-old quarterback to start the remainder of the games? This last one is interesting because I do think of all 5 quarterbacks on this screen, Cam Newton is the guy that you could come up with a new offensive game plan as soon as possible for. He is the guy that with him and Saquon Barkley in the backfield, you could at least have a solid rushing attack. I'm just not so sure Cam Newton's a good football player anymore. I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He's the best rushing quarterback of all time. He's a league MVP. He got a team to a Super Bowl. Do the Giants want to go that route? Do they want to go a loud starting quarterback to take over? I'm not so sure. What would you do if you're Joe Schoen? What should the Giants do? Should they sign a practice squad quarterback? Type PS. Should they sign a veteran quarterback? Type vet. Should they just start Tommy DeVito? Type TD. Or should they start Matt Barkley? I want to hear from you guys. Let me know. If you were Joe Schoen, what would you do at the quarterback position for the remainder of the 2023 NFL season? I do know this. If the Giants make a move, I'm not going to let you down. We are going to make a video. Shoot, if the Giants sign a quarterback, we may go live on this channel. So subscribe, turn your notifications on, and lock us in for the remainder of this season because we're not going anywhere. Win, lose, or draw, we're going to still put out content every day for you guys. Coming up next, Daniel Jones replacements for next year. We're going to focus in on the NFL draft. The Giants are projected to have a top 5 pick. So I'm going to list 5 quarterbacks that I think the Giants should look at in the NFL draft. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. It's the #1 way to play daily fantasy, and you guys should get hooked up. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, use the promo code CLNS, and Prize Picks is going to match your additional deposit up to $100. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. All you do is you create a lineup of 2 to 6 players, and you simply choose more or less on their stat line. The more players you have on your lineup, the higher your payout and multiplier is going to be. These were my picks for Monday Night Football. I went with less passing yards on Zach Wilson and more passing yards for Justin Herbert. They also offer NFL, NBA, college football, college basketball, and you can cross-platform and have multiple sports on one ticket. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS. And if you maybe get off to a rocky start, you'll have some buffer room because you'll have that deposit bonus when you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. Shout out to my guy Rob Rod in the chat. We'll get to that in a second, brother. Thanks for being a real one. All righty. The Giants have to draft a quarterback. Like, all BS aside, all the shenanigans out the window. You're projected to have the 4th pick in the NFL draft. And when you pick inside the top 5 and you have a quarterback that's not proven, and you have a quarterback that's missed 8 games in the last 3 years with a neck injury, and you have a quarterback rehabbing from a torn ACL, you have to draft a quarterback. If the Giants are picking inside the top 10, they should draft a quarterback. And I can almost guarantee it that they will do so. The question is, who is it going to be? Well, if you can get up to the number 1 overall pick, you know who it's going to be. It's going to be Caleb Williams, the Heisman Trophy winner in 2022 at a USC. Caleb Williams is a special, special prospect, ladies and gentlemen. But I do want to say that I am not going to write it in ink that he is absolutely going to be a hit in this league. I believe he will be a good quarterback in this league. But I just kind of want to slow down the expectations for everybody. I don't think it's fair to compare someone to Patrick Mahomes. And I've watched Caleb Williams extremely close over these last 3 weeks. And while he's not playing for a good football team in USC, not a lot of talent all around him, more on the defense side of the ball, there are some concerns I have about his game. He leads college football in the last 3 seasons in fumbles lost. He's very loosey-goosey with the ball control. Those are things you can obviously correct. But man, oh man, if you pick number 1, you may just get a generational quarterback on your hands. There's a lot of other people, though, that would say, Marshall, Caleb Williams is 6 foot. And he's kind of erratic. And he takes a lot of chances. How about I go with Drake Maye, the 6'5" quarterback that's got a rocket arm that can make all the throws from the pocket, and he is one of the most athletic quarterbacks in college football. I believe the stat was 2 weeks ago, over the last 2 years, he had the most 50-plus yard rushing games in college football. Drake Maye is special. If Caleb Williams came out next year, Drake Maye would be the number 1 overall pick. I think Drake Maye might have went number 1 overall last year over Bryce Young. He reminds me of Justin Herbert. I don't think he has the exact arm strength as Justin Herbert. I think Herbert has a top 5 arm in the NFL. Drake Maye has a really good arm, but he doesn't have a transcendent arm. But I also think he is going to be really, really good in this league. And if the Giants are able to walk away with either one of these 2 quarterbacks, if you are able to walk away out of the 2024 NFL draft with either Caleb Williams or Drake Maye, you're going to be sitting pretty. There's a lot of opinions about Caleb Williams. And I understand some of the concerns. But I want to ask you, if you could pick a quarterback, if you were Joe Schoen, who would you rather be the quarterback of the New York Football Giants going forward? Is it Caleb Williams? Is it Drake Maye? Type the initials of the player you want to see under center for Big Blue. If you fall outside the top 5 and you're picking around 8, 9, 10, or 11, and you want to find another quarterback, what about J.J. McCarthy? I'm a big fan of McCarthy. I got to cover him when I covered high school football before I started to work at Chat Sports. I got to interview him, got to talk with him. He's extremely smart. He's extremely humble, and he's extremely professional. And he's also a damn good football player. He can make all the throws. He's not as flashy or splashy as a guy like Caleb Williams or Drake Maye, but I also think he is going to be a good QB in the NFL. It's so important, though, for these guys to go to good situations. Good head coach, good offensive coordinator, good talent around them. I think McCarthy in the right system could be a really good quarterback in this league. I don't think he's a top 5 pick, though, and I don't even know if he's a top 8 pick. But we know what happens and where the value of quarterbacks shoot up in the draft board. They're always taken before they're supposed to be. We'll see. I like McCarthy. I also like Shedeur Sanders. Thing is, I'm not so sure Shedeur Sanders is going to come out and play in the 2024 NFL draft. He's got a couple more years left of eligibility. His best friend, Travis Hunter, has to come back to school next year. So I could see Sanders coming back to school, playing another year with Travis Hunter, but I like the mental makeup of Shedeur Sanders. I like his ability to make all the throws. I think he has good pocket mobility. Not a great straight line runner, not the fastest guy in the world, but he is a guy whose dad has been in the NFL. I think he's got it in between the ears, and I love the way he throws the football, man. He can flick it. He's got a really strong arm. He's extremely talented. A guy that I am starting to fall in love with, though, in college football is Michael Penix Jr. of Washington. I love his story. I love his grit. I love his toughness. I love his ability to face adversity. And when you watch the Huskies play, you can see that this team wraps their arms around Michael Penix. They love playing for Michael Penix. He's a leader. He is someone that I can get behind as the quarterback of the New York Football Giants. I don't love the fact that he's a lefty. I don't like evaluating lefty quarterbacks because every release looks weird. But man, oh man, if you watch that game against USC, he looked just as good as Caleb Williams. That throw he had rolling out to his left, layering the ball in the end zone to the second guy, right here, toe tap. He's a special, special player, man. If the Giants could get any 5 of those guys, I think they'd be sitting pretty good. Who's there going to be, though? Not so sure. We're going to find out where the Giants will pick as this season rolls on. Who do you want to be the Giants quarterback next year? We just broke down 5 guys. Who do you want to be the Giants quarterback next year? Maybe you want it to be Daniel Jones. That's fine. Let me know in the comments who you want to be the Giants quarterback next year. As always, you can follow me over on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. I'm tweeting about the Giants all day, every day, and I want to be able to follow some of you guys back. So give me a follow over on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. And if you DM me QB, I'll know you came from this video, and I'll give you a follow back.